You tell yourself you'll start in a minute. Just one more breath, one more reset. The room is quiet enough, the task is right there, time is passing, and yet your body feels strangely heavy, like the space between intention and action has widened without your permission. You care about what needs to be done. That's the part people don't see. You're not indifferent, you're not distracted in a carefree way. You're thinking about it constantly. You can feel it sitting in the back of your mind like unfinished business that refuses to go away. But when it's time to begin, something tightens. From the outside, it looks like nothing. You're just sitting there. But inside, it feels like friction. Your thoughts circle the task. You imagine starting. You rehearse how you'll do it. You feel the urgency rise. And somehow, that urgency makes it harder. This is the moment that gets misunderstood. You don't think, my system is overloaded. You think, why am I like this? You wonder why something that should be simple feels impossible. You compare yourself to other versions of you, more productive, more focused, more capable. The gap between who you think you should be and who you are in that moment starts to sting. And slowly, the shame begins. But the freeze isn't resistance, it's overload. When you're stuck like that, the task in front of you isn't just a task anymore. It's everything attached to it. The expectation to do it well, the fear of messing it up, the thought of how long it might take, the pressure of time already lost, the quiet worry that this moment says something about you. All of that gathers into one heavy weight, and your system pauses. It doesn't pause because you don't care. It pauses because too many layers are being processed at once. Instead of seeing one clear first step, your mind sees the entire mountain. It tries to hold the beginning, the middle, and the end all at the same time. That's when stillness happens. You might notice that you're not blank during the freeze. You're actually hyper-aware. You're thinking about the task over and over. That looping isn't laziness, it's congestion. Your mind is crowded. And when things are crowded, movement slows. The more you tell yourself to just do it, the tighter it feels. Not because you lack willpower, but because pressure adds another layer. Now you're not only dealing with the task, you're dealing with frustration about the task. The weight doubles. It starts to feel personal. Especially if the task matters, if it touches your identity, if doing it poorly would confirm an old fear. When something feels tied to your competence or worth, the stakes grow larger than the action itself. The task becomes symbolic, and symbols are heavier than steps. You may have noticed that when someone else is present, working beside you, waiting for you, or expecting something, movement becomes easier. Or when a deadline becomes immediate and external, you suddenly find yourself able to act. It's not because you suddenly became disciplined, it's because the situation became clearer, the edges sharpened. When the edges are blurred, you freeze. When everything feels equally urgent, equally important, equally loaded, your mind doesn't know where to begin. Without a clear "this first," your system hesitates. And hesitation feels like failure, even though it's simply uncertainty. There's another quiet pattern in these moments. You try to solve the entire task before you take the first step. You think about how long it will take. You imagine the effort required. You picture yourself halfway through, already tired. You fast forward to the end and evaluate the outcome. So instead of beginning one small action, you attempt to process the whole journey at once. That's exhausting. No one moves easily when they're trying to carry the entire weight of something before lifting even the first piece. When you're frozen, notice how broad the task sounds in your head. Finish everything. Get back on track. Fix this. Do better. These aren't actions. They're vague and heavy. Your mind doesn't know how to move towards something that undefined. It needs something smaller, clearer, lighter. The freeze often means you're trying to hold too much at once. It can also mean you've been carrying too many unfinished things for too long. Every open loop takes up space. Every avoided task sits quietly in the background. Over time, that quiet pressure builds. Even a small new demand can feel like too much. You're not stuck because you're incapable. You're stuck because your internal space feels crowded. When space is crowded, movement feels expensive. The shift doesn't come from pushing harder, it comes from narrowing the frame. Not building an elaborate new system, not redesigning your life, just reducing the task to something so small it stops feeling threatening. Something specific enough that your mind doesn't have to negotiate with it. When the first step becomes neutral, almost too small to judge, your system relaxes. And when it relaxes, motion returns quietly. You don't need a surge of motivation, you need less weight. If you're in that pause right now, notice how much meaning you've attached to the task. Notice how many future outcomes you're holding in your head. Notice how much of the mountain you're trying to carry before taking a single step. Then let the mountain go. Keep only the next stone. The freeze doesn't mean you've lost your discipline. It doesn't mean you're lazy. It doesn't mean you're broken. It means your mind is trying to protect you from overwhelm. And protection sometimes looks like stillness. The problem isn't your character, it's the size of what you're trying to hold all at once. When you stop interpreting the freeze as a flaw and start seeing it as a signal, something softens. The self-criticism quiets. You become curious instead of harsh. Instead of asking, "Why can't I do this?" you might ask, "What part of this feels too big right now?" That question creates space, and space allows movement. Executive dysfunction doesn't always look dramatic. Often it's just this: sitting there, caring deeply, wanting to begin, and feeling unable to bridge the gap. It's not a lack of intention, it's too much at once. When you narrow the moment, when you make the first action smaller than your fear, something shifts. Not in a grand, cinematic way, just enough to begin. And beginning, quiet, imperfect, small, is all that's required to dissolve the freeze. You are not the pause. You are the person learning how to move through it.